Okay, so this guy, we got to bump these numbers up. Okay, Tim Dillon is probably the most hilarious person putting out content right now, and we just got to get more eyeballs on this because it's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. My president has COVID. My president has COVID. My strong leader has COVID. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick. What are you going to do about it? We wish him well. Langley is trying to get rid of everybody. Langley is trying to wipe the slate clean. The darlings at Langley want everybody out. They want everybody out. They're trying to just fucking clean house. Biden now has COVID. Who coughed on him? Which billionaire sent someone to cough on Biden? He has COVID. How would you even tell that he has COVID, by the way? How would he tell? He definitely did not report his symptoms. He has no idea what's going on. There's no way he woke up and knew he had any symptoms. Is this a video of him?
This is him, I think, like the day or the day before that the COVID diagnosis came out, and he just word salad.
If you were to continue to run and be officially nominated, what happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
Yeah, you get it. It's Scranton Joe. It's Scranton Joe. Now the Secret Service is out there.
I mean, I'm laughing, but it is pretty sad. You know, like, at what point does it become elder abuse? It's getting pretty close. People around him know that there's an issue, and they're not being honest with him. Just like nobody's being honest in the media or anywhere else except Tim Dillon. This is where you can come, and you can get the real, straight dope, Jack.
They're saying that they didn't put anybody on that roof because it was sloped. The head of the Secret Service, Kim Cheadle, I believe her name is out there saying we didn't put anybody on the roof because it was sloped. You can get that up. That insane reasoning. And the slope of that roof, by the way, it's the slightest pitch. You easily would have gone on that roof to smoke weed as a teenager. It would not have stopped you. The slope of that roof would have stopped no one. If you were getting a blowjob on that roof, you would have been on the roof. If somebody had weed on the roof, you would have been on the roof. That is not a sloped roof. By the way, there are secret surfers. There are secret surfers everywhere. There are Secret Service snipers on a sloped roof. They're lying to people now like it's like Dr. Seuss, where it's like a nursery rhyme, you know? They're like, we were going to put someone on the roof, but they said nope because the roof was sloped. So we couldn't do anything at all because the Secret Service agents might fall. It's nursery rhymes. They're not even trying anymore. This is literally one of the most offensive lies I've ever heard, that the roof sloping was the reason that they did not clear the roof. They also came out and blamed the local cops. They tried to throw them under the bus. They're like, well, we're the Secret Service, but we still need the local cops, the local bumpkin cops. Those guys, it's their fault. It's the local bumpkin cops, which would have done a better job than the Secret Service, because we would imagine and hope that the local cops weren't, like the Secret Service, in on the plot. They were in on it. They might not have known, not all of them, but if you follow the things, it's very hard to dismiss the idea or the notion that this was somehow, in some way, allowed to happen. This is a massive security breach, failure by the Secret Service, and the reasons that they are giving for this are an insult to your intelligence, and I don't even care how dumb you are. And there's a lot of people out there that are incredibly dumb. Let's watch this woman who, by the way, if we can we convict by look and facial expression and cadence and tone? Judge, we are submitting into evidence look, facial expression, cadence, and tone. Here is Kim Cheadle, who is giving the very plausible explanation for why the Secret Service allowed a guy to climb on a roof and then shoot at the president. By the way, 30 minutes earlier, they were told of this guy. We'll go into all of that, but let's watch.
So there was a cop that came in contact with this guy. This guy aimed his rifle at the cop, and the cop ran off. Not only that, allegedly, there's claims, unverified, that the sniper, one of these snipers, had this guy in his sights for 3 minutes and couldn't get authorization. In addition, if it is not just a single lone gunman, there's no way that the establishment would greenlight a moron like this if there was some sort of conspiracy to eliminate Trump at the political level. There's no way they're going to put their eggs in the basket of a 20-year-old who couldn't even make the rifle team at his high school. They had a rifle team. Couldn't make the team. Couldn't even make junior varsity rifle team. No way they're putting all their eggs in that basket. So the only way it's a conspiracy, and we did a video on this channel, we looked at the lines of sight and stuff and what other vantage points, and there were some buildings that were probably 1,000 yards away, not 150, 1,000 yards away. That's an easy shot for a trained marksman. So my suspicion is that if it is a conspiracy, which we'll probably never know, there was likely another shooter involved that we'll also never know about at a much farther distance, and he's probably the one that actually missed that shot, that close shot that almost took Trump out. The only way that it's a 20-year-old who just accidentally defeated Secret Service protocol, and supposedly the counter sniper couldn't get authorization to take this guy out. As soon as shots are fired, then the decision to fire goes to the person behind the trigger. Prior to that, the scene commander has to give authorization for anybody to pull the trigger on their weapon. So that's what happened. They refused to give authorization until the bullets started flying, and then it became the shooter's decision to open fire, and he did, and took the guy trying to assassinate Trump out. But there's a lot going on here, and not a lot of information. A lot of questions, not a lot of answers.
Watch this very guilty woman first.
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
Fire her.
There was a safety reason that we didn't want to put somebody on the sloped roof? Because they fall. If someone's on a sloped roof, they fall, they hurt their knee. That's not even a building that falling off it would kill you. You might not even break your leg. This is the craziest thing.
Not only that, it was easily accessed by a 20-year-old carrying a ladder and a rifle around that no one was able to see. Guy would carry a rifle and a ladder. Nope, nobody sees it. Well, people in the audience did, and they were yelling about a man with a gun, which still produced no reaction from the people whose only job it is to find people with guns that are trying to shoot the presidential candidate. That's their only job. So the people in the audience were doing this for free on their own time without training, but the people that actually were trained to do it and paid to do it, no, they must have had their ears weren't working that day or something. And as far as the safety standpoint, again, you had a roof that was clearly flat enough for someone to get up there, take a sniper position, and maybe get an inch away from killing a presidential candidate. So clearly, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She should be fired because she has no clue what she's talking about. Even when she talks about safety, she's clueless. Let alone the rest of the job of actually protecting people. She can't even figure out roof slopes.
Here's what is this, a TikTok? They got this a TikTok of an hour before the shooting. This guy, Matthew David Crooks, is just walking around, I don't know, this building like dancing with a gun or something. Let's just see what he was doing. What is going on? What is going on? You can see he like a scarecrow, like something out of a fucking A24 movie. He's a zombie walking around the outskirts of the building. Look at this guy. This is crazy. Are you telling me that's not suspicious? That's the most suspicious thing I've ever seen in my life. If everybody is engaged in this rally and we're all looking one way, okay? And they're doing whatever they're doing, you know, make America great again. They're doing the chant. They're getting down. They're doing the dance. They're doing the call and response, whatever is going on. And then one guy is wandering around the perimeter looking at his feet. This guy, now I'm going to get in trouble for saying this now, because people are going to think I've lost my mind or I'm out of control. I want you to play this again. Does this guy seem like he's in his right mind? Is this guy under the influence of some type of mind control or something? What's going on here? What's happening? I'm not trying to say that he's some MK Ultra mind control victim, although many of our shooters have been. I'm just saying it looks odd. And the idea that they come out and go, well, it was on a sloped roof and we couldn't do anything because we wouldn't want any of our agents to, what, slide down the sloped roof and fall? It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Also, they were told about this guy like 20 to 30 minutes before the shooting. They were given an indication that this guy was around. And he's got no social media. And the only things people say about him are that he was lonely and he was bullied. And he tried to get into a gun club, but he couldn't because he wasn't a good shot at his school. Oh, here he is. Is this him?
Yeah, this is him talking to kids in class a couple years ago, saying he's got a 10-inch penis.
Okay, let's see this.
6'4". I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis and 6'4". I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis.
So, by the way, they're looking at his phones now, and they're trying to get all the info, and, there's all these terabytes of data they're breaking down to try to discern a motive. They don't have any motive why this guy tried to shot the president, right? He shot his ear. And they're saying now that they just, are trying to put some stuff together, but they said, like, preliminary reports are coming out, and they're saying that, like, well, he was interested in high-profile people regardless of politics and stuff like that, which is kind of everybody. Everybody's interested in high-profile people. That's literally everyone on the internet reads stories about high-profile people. So, again, it's a weird thing. Thomas Matthew Crook's parents were licensed social workers. By the way, I'm telling you right now, every social worker I know is a sick person who has a God complex and has a fetish, who is really, really sick. Everyone I know. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm saying that every social worker I know, it does not help anyone and barely tries to. They like tragedy. They hunt it down. They find it. They want to be in it. They love it. They love going into a dirty house where kids are getting beat and not helping those kids. That's every social worker I know. They are lazy people that enjoy chaos and hell. And that's what they do. And I know that people are going to hate that. And they're going to go, no, they do a lot of good work, actually, you fat fuck. They do a lot of good work. Do they? Do they? Do they? No, they don't. Most of them don't. Most of them literally show up to the house with a clipboard and go, what's up? Did they beat you again yesterday? Yep. All right. Make a little note of it. And then they leave. And then they walk out. They do nothing. And those are the people we want to replace the cops with. Oh, yeah, what did they do? They raped Jim Beach? I'm sorry. Oh,
He's absolutely correct. I know a few therapists myself, and knowing them personally, I know that their life is more of a mess than the average person's, and they are crazier than the average person. So my suspicion is their interest in psychology has come out of trying to understand what a mess they are. And even though they're tasked with the job of helping other people, unfuck their lives, I don't see how they're qualified to do so, even if they have a degree, because the evidence is clear that they're fucking crazy. So, yeah, I totally 100% agree with Tim that the people that are drawn to these jobs are oftentimes more screwed up than the patients are.
sorry, I put it in the file. Raped and beaten on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Do you think it was 2 o'clock? Was the rape at 2? And the beating was throughout the rape and then after. Beating after rape and throughout rape. And they just lack, they can't do anything to help anyone. And I'm not saying they're bad people. Many of them, I don't know, might be. But I'm saying they can't do anything. So there's something about a job where all you do is witness horror and you're powerless to help it. That concerns me, that people even like doing it. It's very weird. They're powerless to help, and they keep showing up to see the horror. It's straight. It's like if doctors couldn't operate on anyone, and they just wanted to hang out around the hospital just to hang out with sick people. So Thomas Matthews Crooks, parents were social workers. They were licensed social workers. Among the swirling unanswered questions about what drove a 20-year-old Pennsylvania man to very nearly kill the former president. By the way, how about what drove the Secret Service to not be on the roof? Like, why don't we focus? Now, I know that there's a bunch of articles about that, but you can see this narrative emerging where they're like, what was this kid? How have we failed him as a society? How have we failed him? What did we? And it's like, guys, I'm really much more concerned with why the Secret Service wouldn't put a guy on a slightly pitched roof. Why that they didn't do anything about this guy having been, people have pointed this guy out to them. They didn't do anything about it. Matthew Brian Crooks and Mary Elizabeth Crooks, residents of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, hold active licenses as professional social workers. Records from the Pennsylvania Licensing Verification Service indicate that both have been licensed in 2002. These people are not talking to the press. Yeah, they're not talking to the press.
Shocker.
Interesting. Nobody's coming out, and there's a few of his classmates that are saying stuff. A few of his classmates are coming out and being like, yeah, man, he sucked. Let's watch some. Oh, here they are. Let's watch some of his classmates.
In what way? Can you explain?
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're gonna see someone like that, and they're gonna target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
Yeah, you said he was alone.
And by the way, they just handed him that index card. They're like, and perfect. Thank you very much. They're like, and can we go to the next kid? The next kid's like, well, I didn't know him that well, but it's a shame the availability of guns in this country. I'm not saying that's what provoked it, but the Secret Service is very brave, and I'm happy to have them. All of the, by the way, that thing, and I mean, I don't want to go full fucking Sandy Hook here, but like, this is odd. Like, this just is odd where this guy's like, he was a lonely kid. That's sad. I'm not saying that's what provoked it, but it's like, what is this? You're all outcasts. You're all outcasts. Look at you.
Yeah. I want to say he was a loner more because he was quiet, but like he was just bullied. Like he was bullied so much. So much.
This was high school.
Yeah.
What did they, do you remember at all what they said to him or called him?
No. he was just made fun of, I guess, for the way he dressed or his appearance.
And cut. Very good. Now, you're doing great. We like you. When you deliver the line about his appearance, look away. It's very, yes. When you deliver the line, it's he was bullied, and then we're going to ask you what, and you want to say something, fine, but you don't have to. You can say you don't remember, but now then you're going to say something about for his appearance, okay? And then look away. We're going to take this one more time, okay? Everybody, speed. We're ready, and go. I mean, it's. I'm just kidding. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
My president has COVID. Secret Service director chased out by officials amid calls to resign. People really want this woman out. They want her out. They're going,
Not only is everything fine, everything is great. And we need more of this type of stuff, I mean, why not? Why not just throw caution to the wind, embrace chaos? Whatever happens, happens. Let's give up on the electoral system and just let random lonely kids that are frustrated decide the outcomes of our elections, Because once we greenlight it, it's no longer just one guy they're going to go after. It's going to be systemic, This is how elections are going to function. We're going to decide who gets to run, and then the shooters will decide who wins. Whoever's left alive. It'll be like Hunger Games, I mean, everybody loves those movies, so I don't see what the problem is here. It's great. And the lack of response from the American people, I think that's great too. Everybody's just sitting back wondering what the bullshit narrative that they're going to put out is to tell you, this is all it was, just forget about it, it's all good. Don't worry about any of this stuff. America's great. Vote for the guy that can barely speak, and don't let this evil man, who's a threat to democracy. They put this stuff out here, and they tell everybody, they get everybody all hyped up. We got to do something. We can't allow this guy to get into office, and then they act surprised, and they backpedal when something like this happens, and they say, "Oh, what a tragedy," and all this stuff. When beforehand they were coming very close to inciting violence against him. And yet when the violence happens, they don't stand on the positions and say, well, we were saying this guy was the most evil human being ever and a threat to democracy, and someone had to do something to make sure that he didn't get elected into the office of president of the United States again. So, they act all surprised and backpedal as soon as this happens, which undermines the narrative that they have been putting out in a big way. It undermines it bigly.
get out. So let's watch this. This is a lot of videos today. It's a lot of multimedia, folks. We're in the heat of it. We're in the throes of it. This is the Secret Service director, and people are unhappy with her.
This is exactly what you were doing today on the call.
Stonewalling. Attempt. You owe the people answers.
Who's that? Is that Marsha Blackburn?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow. She's spunky.
Yeah.
Tennessee?
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
100 people left across this plaza to the far corner. This is exactly what you were doing today on the call. Stonewalling.
Attempt. You owe the people answers.
Yeah. They're going to, like Alex said on the show, it's like, I feel like if this was what it looks like it was, this won't be the end of it, tragically. And I'm hoping that, obviously, we don't want any, more craziness to happen. But by the way, do you know that they've already apprehended a guy at the RNC that had explosives? A guy with a knife? They're already apprehending these people. It's like they're coming out of the woodwork now. There's a lot of different people. People have been arrested at the RNC, showing up with weapons, showing up. Yeah, armed man in ski mask arrested while approaching Republican National Convention perimeter in Milwaukee. He was armed, a man armed with an AK-47 pistol and wearing a ski mask was arrested on Monday, just blocks from the Fiserv Forum where the Republican National Convention is being held in Milwaukee. Inside the bag, police found the gun and a full magazine. His intentions were unclear. So, by the way, it's crazy pandemonium out there. And by the way, when you talk to people about this, people are remarkably calm. And obviously, I'm not saying we all have to lose our minds, but it is interesting. People are very disconnected. People are like, wild times. Like, that's the most you're getting out of normies about any of this. They're like, wild times. Wild times out there. And you're like, well, maybe it requires more analysis than that. Well, there's some wild times happening. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's the only thing we should say about it. But here this guy is, and they're just coming out of the woodworks, and they've got AK-47s and knives and guns and explosives, and they're all just showing up. They're all just showing up. And hopefully none of this is a plot. None of it's coordinated. None of these people are, I'm hoping that that's the case. That would be lovely. But we have the most egregious failure of security. We have the Secret Service. Remember, it's like when Epstein died and they came out and they were like, the guards fell asleep. Remember that? It was like they were like, the guards fell asleep. They were tired. And you go, wait, but there's cameras. Well, they stopped working. It's like they used to put so much work into lying to us. Now there's no work being put into the lies. That should offend you the most. The roof was sloped. What do you expect us to do? It's like, bitch, wait, hold on. That's the fuck. It's really amazing that they don't put any work into the lying. They don't put any work into the fucking lying anymore. Man, they used to really come up with fucking good lies. It would take years and journalists to unravel these lies. Now they just, it's like, it's just completely insane what they'll get away. The cameras stopped working and everybody fell asleep. That's what happened. The roof was sloped. Move on. Yes, everybody was enjoying the rally, and then there was this zombie guy with an AK-47 walking around, but nobody noticed him, really. People saw him and yelled about it, but we didn't know what to do. We relied on the local cops. And it was a slope roof. So we couldn't put anyone on there. We couldn't clear it. Shut up. The president's healthy. Everything's fine. The president is fine. Joe Biden is fine. He's doing well. Now, I don't know how these plots work. I've read lots of books about these things, but I don't really know. I don't know how these things happen. But I imagine that this Secret Service woman you can see in her face, by the way, and I'm not saying anything negative about her, but you can see in her face that there's some deep conflict, not that picture, but when she's talking to, who is that, Lester Holt? Who was she on the thing with?
An ABC reporter.
Whatever. Well, when she's talking to him, you can see she's clearly... There's conflict. Play that again. Play that clip again. I want you to look at her. There is something to be gained sometimes from just looking at someone and taking in their cadence, their tone, how they're speaking. And when she's speaking here, you can tell that she's kind of conflicted. She may not know or have known what was going to happen. They may have just... I don't know if she was a pawn here, but look at this woman again.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
She looks very kind of compromised.
Couldn't make eye contact. She's looking down with a blank stare. Accessing stored information, prepared response. I agree, seems suspicious. Get her out.
She doesn't fit. Now, obviously, it's a serious thing. It's a severe topic. Look at that. Does this look good? This look good for anybody? Well, the roof, earlier that day, we did have a Secret Service agent go up to the roof, and he was having a Dairy Queen blizzard. And you know the blizzards where they hold them upside down? Unless they're free, actually. You hold them upside down to show that the ice cream is so thick that it won't fall out of the cup. Well, I mean, joke's on us because it was pretty hot that day and the ice cream actually started slipping out of the cup. And it was a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Blizzard, not the pieces. The cups are relatively thick. It came out of the cup, so now you just basically have like a milkshake on the roof and got very slippery, but you also have these little peanut butter cups that are melting and creating a hazardous situation. That's the reason the president got shot in the ear. That's the reason, okay? Americans will understand that, right? They're pigs. They're pigs. They'll understand that. Well, you know what? That roof was all covered in Raisin Cane sauce. And it was too slick for anyone to get on. We couldn't get on that roof with Raisin Cane. See, we had a little Secret Service party. You know how we do. We got there a little early, got some fingers, some Texas toast, and went up there and got a little crazy. And there was cane sauce all over the roof. It was too slippery. I don't even know how that shooter got on there. I just don't know. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. But I mean, people say to me all the time, they're like, you got to do an emergency thing. You got to do a reaction. We did one with Alex. We had 2.5 million views so far. It was this epic thing. And we love Alex for coming on and we appreciate it. But I mean, what do I have to say? It's the same thing we've all kind of thought and said. And it's that if this isn't fishy, nothing's fishy. If this doesn't smell, what does? If this doesn't, smell like a rat, whatever the term is, if something isn't wrong here, when is it wrong? Something seems like it's very wrong. That the Secret Service cannot secure a roof 150 yards from where.
That's weird. They're seemingly able to stand on it when they go up to assess the situation after the shooter's been killed. Boy, that steep roof turns out to not be all that steep and dangerous once people get on it. And again, the shooter's able to get up there and take a shot from there. You got 3 guys, not just one, hanging out. They're not clinging on for dear life. This is ridiculous. And everybody's just eating it up, Just take a big bite of that shit sandwich. I guess the bigger the bite, the sooner that shit sandwich is choked down. So go right ahead. Take those big bites.
Where the president is speaking seems like a major fucking problem. 5 days or 4 days or whatever, a week after the debate where we found out that the incumbent president is in advanced dementia. It's not like he's like it has mix-ups here and there. The incumbent president is is almost dead. His brain is failing. And the people are like, no, behind closed doors, he's better. He's worse. He's absolutely much worse. That doesn't mean he can't have moments of lucidity, and it doesn't mean he's not a smart guy. It doesn't mean that he can't recall certain things, but it means that he's completely incapable.
My grandfather had Alzheimer's. He had days where he knew who I was, who my father was, and he had other days where he was living in the past 40 years ago. And he thought I was my father when he was a kid. So he thought I was his son. So again, it's exactly correct. People with dementia, people with Alzheimer's, they have good, they have bad moments. It's not like you just go completely out of it and you stay there. You come in and out. You can watch that with Biden. You can watch him be at important, momentous events and he's falling asleep. Now, either he's that tired or he doesn't really understand the gravitas of the situation or the ceremony that is going on, and the fact that he's supposed to be paying attention and maybe even getting ready to stand up and say something. If you're ignoring your own eyes, then good for you, because that must be a great way to live, just ignoring reality and living in a fake world. That sounds amazing. You're just playing video games in real life. Really good. Escapism, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it.
Of doing the job of the American president, which is to sell weapons and start wars. That's the job of the American president, is to start wars and then sell weapons to one side or both sides of the war. That's his job. Now, he doesn't have to do much to do that. This is where he thinks another woman is his wife.
Yeah.
Well, he wishes she was his wife because she's not a fake doctor. Yeah. He goes, oh, right. She's my wife. That's amazing. Biden's literally...
Probably another reason they don't like Trump, because he's talking about ending the wars. And he's not on board with this whole gaslighting the population into believing that endless wars are great for us and we need to keep doing that. It's nonsense. But the rest of the establishment seems to be on board with it for the most part. And then you got this one guy, the guy who's getting slandered by the media for the past 8 years, getting impeached, and then you got the criminal investigations and prosecution, 34 felonies, and now you've gone, oh, all these shots failed. Let's take a real shot at him, and that fails too. Clearly, not the way they treat people on the inside or cooperating. So that's a very good indicator that Trump is not part of the inner circle, and he's just acting like he's trying to do something different and fight the corruption, and then once the cameras go off, he's hanging out, shaking hands and eating sandwiches with these guys.
He's literally going, oh, I'll take this one. I'll go with this one. And then he sees Jill and he goes, oh, the old ball and chain. The woman who's making me continue to do this job. I have to show up every day. Well, you know, I watch politics like everyone does. We all sit back and we watch it, and it's entertaining to a degree, and then also it's also scary. But CNN anchor says Trump define a podium is a bad message. So if I've seen Republicans lose elections, I've seen Democrats lose elections, and I usually know when they are going to lose. Like when Mitt Romney said that half of America just doesn't want to work or doesn't care about, that's when he lost. When the billionaire Mitt Romney or whatever, he was worth a lot of money, maybe not a billionaire, but he was worth a lot of money, and he came out and he was like, 47% of this country doesn't even care about anything. You know, that was when he lost. And I feel like this mentality here is why the Democrats are going to lose. This CNN anchor is saying it. Trump sent a bad message by saying fight, fight, fight after. And by the way, I think that Trump was in shock. He thought he was dead, thought he was going to die. He probably thought he had been shot fatally. He didn't know. And he said, let me get my shoes. He was out of it. He was in shock. And I think when he said fight, 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 I think he was, which makes it all the more kind of badass, I think he thought that was the last thing he would ever say or that anyone would ever see him say. So it was a very interesting thing, I believe, because he didn't know. There were shots fired, then there was blood. He was in shock. It was all a matter of seconds. He didn't know. But let's see again the people at CNN who are, again, determined to lose at all costs by a historic margin. Let's see this analysis.
I do want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, fight, fight, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to...
As usual, CNN takes being a moron to the absolute maximum. If you got shot, even in the ear, and you go down and you have a few seconds to process the fact that someone just tried to kill you, you're going to stand up and say, fight, fight, fight? You're going to stand up and say, peace, peace, peace? I mean, what mindset? Try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I know that most people don't do this. Most people, you know, they can only see things that happen to other people from their own perspective. Oh, that happened to them. Most people aren't trying to put themselves in someone else's shoes. So just do a little thought experiment. If you're able to actually have real empathy for someone, that means to understand their situation and internalize it, try to grapple with how you would respond, not just looking at someone else and judging them from your perspective without trying to understand how you might be feeling if you just got shot in the head. You just had a bullet go an inch away from going into your brain and killing you. and she's thinking that you're supposed to stand up and say some insightful thing, you're like Tim said, you're probably in shock. Probably a little bit irritated by the hole in your ear, and you're probably going to stand up and be hyped up. So even if he didn't mean fight, 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 like we should all go out and fight, he was saying, don't give up. I'm not giving up. He was showing his resolve. He was showing that he was okay, and they want to be hypercritical of this because their only goal is to make you think a certain way about it. If they're going to cover it, they're going to try to also put their bias into it. Make sure that you internalize it and interpret it the way that it should be interpreted by good people. Only bad people would see this as an inspirational moment, that this man stood up with a bullet hole in his ear, raised his fist, and was saying to America, don't give up. I'm not going to give up.
Tamp it down.
Right.
Yeah, I would just know one thing on this.
That's a great point. So the president, who had just been shot, was sending a divisive message. Can you imagine these people? The president, who had just been shot, was at fault for the divisiveness, having just been shot. The guy who got shot, who almost died, who a bullet missed his head by, centimeters. I mean, you see that thing. It's crazy the way that analysis of the bullet going past his head. This guy who then gets up and says to his people, fight, fight, fight. He gives this historic photo. I've talked to big liberals about it. They go, this is the most impressive political act I've seen in years. And somebody's on CNN going, actually, we felt the message was a bit divisive. We're actually disappointed in the wording. We don't love the wording of that. I wish he had kind of workshopped that a bit as he was being bloodily dragged off the stage by the Secret Service. I wish he had kind of, I don't know, taking people's temperature more. We're trying to ramp it down. Are you trying to was that the Secret Service trying to ramp it down when there's nobody on a fucking roof? Is that what they were trying to do? Trying to ramp it down? A week ago, Biden goes, let's put him in the bullseye. Were they trying to ramp it down? Trying to ramp it down when years ago, Maxine Waters goes, if you see anybody from this administration in a restaurant, create a crowd, confront them, scream, yell, tell them you are not welcome here. That's Maxine Waters. I mean, political violence is never good. It's never the answer. It's not the answer on January 6th. It's not the answer with Antifa. No good comes from attacking innocent people, destroying people's private property, killing people in the streets. Violence is it's like a cancer. It grows, it spreads. It's incredibly destructive force that cannot be marshaled. And the people that unleash it often can't control it. All these idiot Congress people, senators, members of the media, when these riots were going on over George Floyd, they were like, oh, we can control this violence. We can use it for our political ends. We think some of this violence is good. Punch Nazis. We'll decide who's a Nazi, and then you go punch them, confront these people in the street, do all this stuff. People like me were getting accused, what are you, a Nazi sympathizer? I'm like, no, I just think that establishing a pretty reasonable standard that violence isn't okay, no matter what anyone believes, and that the best way to actually deal with people's beliefs is to ignore them, not attack them violently, or is to present better beliefs that make more sense, because that's how civilization works, or should. But this whole idea that violence is now the whole thing. So now we have people walking around the RNC with machetes, guns, who knows? Bags of bombs. Come on, and you're going to hear about it. You're going to read. There was a man stopped with a suitcase, and hopefully they get everybody. Hopefully they get them all. Where are they coming from? Who are these people? Where are they? Are they, I don't know. Nobody knows. His intentions were unclear, this guy that they got. So we know that the national security apparatus wants Trump to lose. We know that they spent years saying he was an asset of Russia. We know that after he left office, he was indicted multiple times, this, that, the other. Whatever you think of Donald Trump, whether you agree with him politically, I agree with some things he does and not others. But whatever you do see, he's some type of threat to these people, or they think he is. They think it's like Putin with the Ukraine. Putin believes they're a threat if they join NATO. The CIA believes Trump is a threat. Whether he is or not, it remains to be seen. They believe he is. All of these establishment people believe he's a threat. Okay, we can establish that. It's not a big jump. It's not a cred. It's not to say that there aren't good people in the intelligence agencies. And I'm sure some of them want Americans to, prosper and thrive and have good lives. But a lot of them don't work for the American people, really, and never have. They work for a small cotter of billionaires that has interests that need to be protected all over the world. And those intelligence operatives pave the way and clear the way for those people to do what they want. And then they go, well, that's for the American people, but it's not. It's for a few zip codes. It's not for the American people. It's not, the CIA is not working for the American people all the time. Occasionally they are. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. A lot of times they're not. And we don't know what's going on. This is the problem right now where we are in this country. We have no idea what's going on. I've never been alive during a period of more uncertainty than right now, where you talk to people. People are almost like trauma victims to a certain degree, where they're kind of disassociating from it. They can't understand or face it. They can't accept how bad things have gotten, how quickly. They can't understand. They don't want to fathom the idea that there could be power struggles going on, in ways that they could never imagine, that the government isn't united, that there's different factions that are warring and stuff. And I don't want to sound like a QAnon nut job. I don't want to sound like somebody who thinks that, Ellen DeGeneres is a clone or something, or she's in jail awaiting trial. I mean, how lovely would that be? But I don't believe it's the truth. Now, what I think it is that a lot of people are agnostic. They just don't know. And I don't know either. It looks very, 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 very bad. It looks bad. That's all you can say. I don't have facts.
I think that we narrowly avoided a civil war for the time being, or at least the rumblings of one. I think that the only way that this didn't turn into a civil war is because Trump survived. I don't know, though. I even wonder what a terrorist attack would do today. I mean, back when 9/11 happened, we were pretty unified. There were some problems, and we were coming off an election that there were some questions about, not in the too distant past, and this galvanized the nation as one again to go after these terrorists. And it was just, we forgot all about it, moved on. We were unified for about a decade after that, about until the 2010, 2012, which is also when the smartphone came out, started manipulating everybody. And these big tech companies have just gotten more powerful and more able to control what you see through the algorithm, through your engagement, through collecting data, through understanding what makes you tick. Now they're showing you things to continue to amp you up. People that agree with you, and also people that you hate and you react negatively to. You might comment on both. So you're going to be shown more of it. You're going to get more extreme. You're going to get more angry, more divided. And then it's such a mystery why things are falling apart. Who could figure it out? And that's also why people are returning to the church and God. Institutions that are largely unchanging. They don't follow the tide of culture. They have books, like our government has documents. That's why we're a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Because we got the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. These are the guiding documents. These are our North Star. And if we just start ignoring them, then we're going to hit the rocks real quick. Same thing's happening in our society. We've lost our North Star on how we used to operate in America, how we used to agree, and we're all just fighting over bullshit and nonsense.
I don't have anything at my fingertips. I've had conversations with really, really smart people that are plugged in. None of them can put their finger on something. All we can say is does not look good. If you're an honest person, I don't care who you have supported, it's unimportant. You can hate Trump. You can think Hillary Clinton's great. It's unimportant. This looks bad. If Hillary got shot in the ear and this was the case with the Secret Service, I would be like, what's going on? I would say that. I would, it's not a political thing. It's an issue of like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? But I do think that's right. It was such a nasty message he said. Fight, fight, fight. Such a nasty message. And what happened with Jack Black? They kicked him out. They're not representing him anymore.
Oh, yeah, the Tenacious D, the other guy.
What happened?
He made a comment about how it was basically, it was like an anti-Trump after the assassination.
What did he say?
Comment.
Do we have a video of it?
I'll pull it up, yeah.
He said, I hope, it was his birthday, and he said, I hope next time they don't miss. And there was big, big blowback. There's also a Colorado senator who said, or Colorado representative, I'm not sure, I don't think he's a senator, I think he's a district rep, who said, the last thing we needed was sympathy for the devil, but here we are. Big backlash on that. He deleted his X account almost immediately. But people saved the screenshot. You can't delete everything, buddy. Once it's been seen, people know when something is real messed up, and they save it so that it can be put back out there. People can see the real you.
You know, I think that a lot of people are going to say a lot of stuff. I don't think we should go and persecute, whatever, every person who says something dumb right now. A lot of people are going to make jokes, obviously, because this is, people make jokes. This is how people deal with tough times and bad times. And I don't know what this guy said, but I don't think it's such a huge thing, probably. I don't know.
No, here's what he said.
Okay.
Don't miss Trump next time.
Next time.
Thank you.
Well, it's,
Disgusting. And make no mistake, I mean, at this point, they've already started down this road. I think it's highly unlikely there won't be another attempt. So I do hope that the security around Trump is a little better than the people that were on the job for the last assassination attempt, because that was pathetic. They could send someone who actually knows what they're doing next time.
Obviously it's not the best thing to say, I don't think. Anytime you celebrate an attempted assassination attempt of a popular figure, people are going to get upset. And they kicked, what did they drop? Jack Black? Somebody got rid of him.
They canceled the tour. I'm pretty sure some of the agencies are distancing themselves from him, and yeah, not good.
It's so nice to have a tour canceled. I'll just go home and go to sleep. They will never cancel my tour. I will be on the road. They don't care what I say. They will be like, great, go to Reno. That's good. You think about what you said on the way to Reno. You think about it on the way to Salt Lake City. You go do it now. We're disappointed in you. Go to Reno. Go to Reno. Take your medicine. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. What? If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select players' stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. With the finals over, the hoops action doesn't stop on Prize Picks. Women's basketball is still heating up, with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Picks is the best. Everyone loves it. Everyone I know who's playing these games and winning money is doing it on Prize Picks, including myself. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code TIM for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code TIM on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. I am telling you, everyone I know is using Prize Picks. We're all having a lot of fun and winning a lot of money. If you like to have fun and win money, then you should use Prize Picks. Use code TIM. A first deposit match up to $100. Whoa. Kid adulting. Adults are becoming the top toy buyers. Well, this is a positive, huh? This is a fun story. Well, finally, we have a fun story. Something positive. Adults are playing with toys. Finally, something nice and sweet and good. Adults are the ones going out and buying toys. It's not kids anymore. By the way, we've stolen everything from children. Halloween used to be for children. We stole that. We stole video games from children. We're stealing everything. And now we're stealing toys. Everything that children used to have, adults take and make their own. And then make weirdly perverted so kids almost can't have it back. Like they take Halloween and just make it into like some orgy. And then it's like kids can't even have it back. So God only knows what they're going to do with toys. Data shows that adults 18 and up have surpassed kids ages 3 to 5 to become the biggest customer demographic for the toy industry. I'm going to say that again. Because some of you might be going, wait a minute, hold on. I'm driving in my car. Maybe you're on a sloped roof and you're just trying to stabilize yourself. So let me say it again. Data shows that adults 18 and up have surpassed children ages 3 to 5 to become the biggest customer demographic for the toy industry. The so-called kidulting trend, God help us, is bringing these grown-ups back to the toy aisle. From Funko Pops to action figures to comic books. Management at Collectors Marketplace says that the bottom line is that nostalgia sells. During the pandemic, a lot of adults were searching for normalcy and found some of it in memories from their youth. It created a boom in toy and collectible sales. It definitely has been riding a lot.
Clearly, this is an indicator that adult life is so good and so rich and so rewarding. We love it so much that we're reverting back to being children, so we can pretend that all we gotta do is play with toys. We don't have to face reality. Oh, it's easier rather than cope with real life. I'm gonna go sit on my living room floor with some toys and pretend everything's great. I'm gonna have a little play session. We're gonna have a tea party. Whatever you're gonna do, G.I. Joe's gonna save the world, and you don't have to worry about it. Escapism. It's great. Like I said, 10 out of 10. Just keep doing it. Keep ignoring what's going on, and things are going to get even better.
A lot of nostalgia, and I feel like in the middle of COVID, it gave people the opportunity to explore that area. So what items are selling out to these kidults? It definitely depends on what's hot at the moment. Like Spider-Man just around the corner. We're going to have Deadpool and Wolverines. We've already noticed there's an increase in those. A lot of Final Fantasy video game stuff is super popular. Comic books, really mostly in a bunch of anime. Stores like the Collectors Market see a wide range of what people will pay. So here's what, as life becomes unbearable in terms of what's happening around you, traumatic. People see people getting shot in the ear and the head. There's bullets that are whizzing by, and people are kind of normalizing it. Wow, it's political violence. You know, it's like the Secret Service takes a knee and lets the president get whacked or attempt to get whacked. As stuff like this happens, instead of confronting the deep problems in the country, we have adults playing with Spider-Man figurines in their house. It's what's happening. I mean, this is the news. I'm not making this up. Instead of confronting the fact that we have a very, very, very big problem on our hands. Many of them. Adults are now buying Spider-Man outfits and putting them on in their house. While their 3- and 5-year-old children, I guess, watch them and go, Dad, can I play with the toy? And we go, not yet. This is not the best way to handle what's happening out there. And I understand that what's happening is traumatic. It is a little weird when the one president can't talk and has dementia, and the other one is Donald Trump, and they're trying to kill him. It is strange. It doesn't fill you with a great feeling. It doesn't fill you with a lot of hope for the country. It's actually quite traumatic, to be honest. You're going, what's happening out there? But the response to this cannot be Wolverine. Folks, I'm asking you nicely now. I'm asking you nicely now to put it down. Put the figurines down. Take the costume off, please. We are dealing with deadly forces trying to exterminate each other and destroy the country. Is there a way we can all face this horrible reality that we've all created? Can we face it without fucking, Green Lantern? Can we face it without the Hulk? Can we do it? Please. Because I'm telling you right now, nothing good is to come of this trend. Nostalgia is supposed to be a fleeting thing. Nostalgia is supposed to be so quick. It's like deja vu. Deja vu is you walk into a place, you go, have I been here before? And then immediately you go, who cares? And you have fondue or whatever. I don't know, but that's what deja vu is. It's a haunting thought for a few seconds, fleeting in your head, out of it. It's not something you prattle on about for hours. That's the same thing with nostalgia. You think back on the 80s, you go, oh, the fucking 80s. Coca-Cola, cigs, fucking Convert, whatever it was to you. Crack, whatever the 80s was to you. Quick, in and out. Man, nostalgia. And then you move on quickly. It is deeply unhealthy to cocoon yourself in your childhood, especially during, some intelligence war. I mean, this is just not good. And this is the whole thing now. It's celebrated. This is all celebrated. It's celebrated as like a cool thing. Adults becoming children. And then on the other hand, we have children becoming adults. So Gavin Newsom now just signed a law that your math teacher is allowed to cut your dick off, I think, and not tell your parents. As long as they put your dick in a bag and give it to you. This is sick. This is the law. Your math teacher is allowed to perform sexual reassignment surgery on the child. They put the penis in a bag. They give it to the child. They put the name on the bag. And then they give it to and they don't have to tell the parent. So the parent goes, where's your penis? And the kid goes, it's in a bag. Well, who put it in a bag? Mr. Morrison. He cut it off and he put it in a bag. My name is Star now and I have a pussy. And you're like, God damn it, what am I dealing with as a parent? My kid went to school, a boy, and then his math teacher cut off his dick, put it in a bag, and sent him home with it. This is insane. And you got to tell your husband that? Hello, Bob. Bob, can you hear me? Bob, listen. Jake is home. His penis is in a bag. His math teacher cut it off at school. They did reassignment surgery on him, Bob, and his dick's in a bag. And he wants me to call him Janine. So when you get done with work, why don't you come and talk to your son, and you can see the cock in his bag. I'm just saying. I feel for the parents here. No, what this law is that if your child is a tranny bunbani,
A tranny boobani.
Which is there's nothing wrong with. I don't care about people being trans. I just have always requested this. When you are a child, that you be left alone and allowed to form your own identity without adults meddling in your life and without people suggesting medical interventions, pills, surgery, things like that. It's completely insane.
So specifically, when kids are in the stage where they're still looking up to adults and everything that adults say and ask, they try to do because they still have respect and they're looking to adults for guidance. This is the wrong term to be bringing adult sexuality and adult confusion and adult bullshit into their little brains. However, once they get into high school and they're like, fuck you, mom, fuck you, dad, fuck you, teacher, I got my own thoughts now, you know? You're not going to tell me what to think. I'm a grown-up. Then, now you can bring in these idiots. If you want to expose kids to what's going on in the adult world, you can bring in all the idiots with all the agendas, and you can have the kids be exposed to it, because the kids are going to sit there and there's going to be groups of them that are like, oh, this is interesting. There's going to be other groups that are like, that's stupid. Let's go smoke a cigarette out behind the... Let's hit our vape pens, dude. Where you got a Juul that I can borrow? Can I get a hit? Then we're good. But this is bullshit. They want to say that it's just so that everybody can have access to it, but the truth is that they're going in, and if these are the people of science, then look at the studies that show that that children are impressionable, and you shouldn't put impressions on them that you shouldn't force them to arrive at conclusions that they haven't gotten to themselves, because otherwise you're just brainwashing them. You're just a groomer, and nobody likes a fucking groomer.
A lot of these kids will not end up being trans. Some of them will, some of them will not. A lot of them will be gay, some of them will be lesbian, some of them will have other experiences and find other things. I don't know. Some of them may be unicorns. I don't know. I don't know.
Fun.
And isn't that nice? It's so rare. What I'm saying is that I don't think there's any, I've never heard a good explanation as to why a 9-year-old should have a sexual, medically transition, or why somebody should delay puberty. The Tavistock Clinic in Britain ran this experiment. It failed. They shut down all sexual assignment surgery, reassignment surgery for minors in that country. Britain's not a psychopathic right-wing country. They ran an experiment, and it ruined a lot of kids' lives. And they found out that, yes, you can be too young to make permanent medical decisions about your sex and gender. There is a reality in which children need to be children. Teenagers need to be teenagers. So Gavin Newsom has basically said that educators are now prevented from notifying parents if their child asks to switch names or pronouns. Allowing your child to be trans at school and whatever, that we can't out your kid as being trans. Now, here's the way I feel about this. I don't like laws.
Yep.
I don't think we should compel teachers to out kids as trans to their parents, because I think the teacher's job should be to fucking teach.
Just like abortion. If the government really cared about your freedom, they'd recuse themselves from the debate. And they would just say, hey, listen, we're going to take the laws off the book. If there's medical providers out there that feel that it's safe to perform these and they're willing to do it for money, and there's people over here that want it and have money, then the two can come together, and insurance can pay for it too. Government should just step away. But the truth is that half the government is invested in the idea that your children are the future earners to pay into Social Security. They need your children for the system to continue. Otherwise, it gets too top heavy. Everybody's taking Social Security. You don't have enough young people out in the workforce working to pay for the retirements of the old people that already went through it. And it's the same thing with this. If the government really cared about freedom, they wouldn't be passing laws saying one way or the other. They're actively trying to get involved. Sorry, and then the other side of the abortion debate is people that believe the world is overpopulated and these useless breathers need to go away. Let's find a way to diminish people's ability to create more. We've already got too many. Let's start, let's encourage people to be on birth control. We had a dog problem. We got them all neutered. Now there's breeding factories that have replaced, your neighbor having puppies and you getting a free dog. So That's better. They want to do the same thing with humans. We got to get the population under control. They're banging like dogs, like rabbits, whatever. So the government is involved for a reason, because half of them are invested in your kids being the earners, and the other half believe we've got too many people and we global warming and all this stuff, and we're consuming too much energy, we're ruining the planet, we need less people, blah blah blah. It's the same thing here. They're getting involved, so you've clearly got two sides, one who wants to protect children and one who has an agenda to maximize their group. And the best way to do that is to get into the children's classrooms early and get them thinking that this is one of their own ideas. Put this little idea in their head, just like Inception, and let them run with it. Expose them to the concept, and then when they're playing pretend, they're not trying to be a princess. Now I'm a trans prince, and I'm gonna, children love to play pretend, and then they grow up. So hopefully they don't grow up and realize that when they were 9 they had surgery that changed them forever and they regret it. That's the whole concept here. And I don't think it's hard to understand. I think there's a lot of people that aren't saying it that way for some reason, which also doesn't make any sense and leads to more conspiracy theories, because people, once again, as usual, are not being honest about shit with anybody, and they're trying to lie and manipulate your brain into believing whatever they want you to believe.
Math and reading and science and all the things our retarded kids don't know. I don't think it should be their job to go and negotiate the gender of their student body to the parents and call up and go, well, I'm noticing, he's got a beard now. I don't know. But I don't think they should be prevented from doing it either. These laws that are enforced so that parents don't know things about their children, I don't think that's good. Some kids have really shitty, hateful parents. Some kids have very good parents that want to be involved. Most people are in the middle. Most parents are in the middle. They don't really know what the trans thing is. They're trying to figure it out, but they don't want their child to be living a secret double life. I don't think Gavin Newsom's making the right call by allowing these kids to live a secret double life. But what's so weird about this is the more adults we have playing with figurines, we're asking children to make permanent medical decisions about who they are at a younger and younger age. We're forcing them to be adults, whereas we're taking adults and telling them it's okay to dress up like a Wolverine. So it is strange to me, this Freaky Friday situation we have, where adults are now children and children are adults. And I think it should be, the way I would do it if I was a teacher, it would be like, if you're good in school and you do your homework, I won't tell your parents you're trans. But if you don't do it, and you got to call them by, you got to say, you got to do the right pronouns. You got to, well, if they don't finish this project, I'm calling your parents. Okay, Caesar? You think you know it all, Caesar? But if you don't start focusing on this lab report, whatever your name is, but that's what I would do. I would reward the trans students who were trying and punish the ones that weren't. And I think that's what makes the most sense here. Not a law, discretion. Mr. Newsom and Rob Bonta, the state attorney general, had fought conservative-led school districts in court before the overwhelmingly Democratic state legislature sent his bill to the governor last month. The new law prohibits local school boards from forcing educators to tell parents if their child asks to use a different name or different pronouns. Parents would retain the right to access their child's school records, and minors are still required to get permission from their parents or guardians. But yeah, I mean, it's like somebody comes into the class and their name is John, and they say, "Hi, my name is Juliana, and I want to be called Juliana." It's confusing, I guess, in the parent-teacher conference, but the teacher can't out the kid, so it's like it's all confusing. I think we're going to get rid of school soon. I really do. I think that's coming. I think it's coming. We're getting rid of school. I think we're just going to get rid of school. No, I do. It's just getting to the point now where no one really knows what it is. No one really knows what's going on. We got to figure out something else for them to do. Putting kids into the workforce early is actually not a terrible idea. It's really not. it's not a terrible idea to start taking them out of school and making them work at like a marina or something like that. Like me and Bethany Frankel are members of a boat club, and they take us out on the boat and they drive us to dinner. Ooh, it's time to abolish schools. I like this. I see a woke bitch with some hoops. Me and her might have a little not super whatchamacallit, like not super common meeting of the minds here. But what's her argument for why we should get rid of schools? Because in a recent New York Times op-ed, I argued that racism isn't the right word to understand the unrelenting police killings. Oh, God. All right. Where is that school stuff? Schools are where the often countless dedicated teachers who work tirelessly against the tide of a neoliberal agenda, unwavering in its commitment to privatize the entire enterprise of education, eradicate public schools. These institutions are also said. I don't know what this is. I'm confused. Well, it's all about race. Mm. Well, here's the deal. Kids are a problem, and they need to be housed and they need to be put somewhere. School is just becoming a place to house children like prison, because the more technology they have access to and the more weapons they can get, they actually become a threat to society as a whole. So it's really just classrooms are holding cells for a lot of kids. It's not nice, you know? But if you think about it, children, and we've covered this on the show, they've become dangerous.
Look at the similarities between the prison system and the school system, and recognize that if you don't get it as a child, it's likely that you're going to go out, and because you weren't programmed to obey properly and you do the wrong things, then the law is going to round you up. And what are they going to put you back into? Something that looks exactly like your high school did, with the cafeteria and the scheduled, this is when first period starts and you better be here, and you're in this room for this many hours, you're that room for this many hours, you got to do this, you got to listen to everybody telling you what to do all the time without question. And if you're good, we'll let you out with a piece of paper that says you're free and you can now go out and work. I mean, school is prison. It's literally, if you went to prison, it is the thing that you would probably think of as like, oh my God, this is sort of like high school. There's cliques. We all self-segregate at the lunch table. We have fights. School is just like prison. It works great. So they decided to use it for adults too. And then we re-educate you, and maybe we'll let you back out and give you a second chance.
Dangerous. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I mean, how many shootings we have? Children. So they have to go somewhere. But my question is school the best place for a lot of these kids to be right now? Should there be a place where children should work and learn more about work? Really?
Like a mine.
Should there be an apprentice?
We could have them mine lithium in Arizona by the Tesla factory. That'd be a perfect use of kids. They use them like that in Africa. Apple loves kids who get them their little minerals for their iPhones. It's great. Bring it into America. Let's get these American kids in the mines.
This ship, should there be something, it's a real question, should there be something where instead of children wasting time, should they be, seriously, I'm sick of hearing this follow your dreams crap. They don't have dreams, these monsters. Have you seen them? Have you spoke to these kids? I mean, and first of all, I don't want to say anything about anything here, but what is going on with the autism? No, I mean, I'm serious. What is happening? Because what is happening?
Yeah, RFK said that back when he was a child, it was like 1 in 30,000 kids had autism. Now it's 1 in 34. Children have autism.
I mean, and I'm all for it to a degree. I mean, I'm not against it, but because some of it is just out of control. Truly, where it's like somebody sits down at lunch with the kid and the kid's like, yeah! And I go, and they go, oh yeah, they have mild autism. And they go, I go, what is, because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. In that case, people are going to get mad at me. But I'm just curious. I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying put them in the river. I'm not saying put them in a lake. I'm saying, can we do something about this? Can we throw a blanket on them or something? Can we do something? Are there blankets? No, seriously.
Weighted
Bundle
blanket.
them? What's happening? I don't understand what's going on now. I'm not trying to be a problem. Well, you don't have kids. You don't know what it's like. I know, of course. I get it. I don't have dogs or cats. But if I see dog or a cat causing a problem, I go, let DC deal with it. Someone deal with it. People get mad at me all the time, but I'm only asking questions. I'm not doing anything. It's true. So I'm just wondering, is there a place where children can go and instead of school, go and gain real world experience? What if they worked at like Madison Square Garden? You know what I mean? What if like kids worked at Madison Square Garden? Or like we put them in unions, little unions? No, I'm dead serious. Like we don't need them to be learning.
Child unions. Let's make
much,
it happen.
You know what I mean? Like we don't need it. We have enough stuff. We've got AI. We've got automation. Like we need to slow down the expectations of everyone else. Like we need to slow down the expectations of people for how good their kids' lives are going to be immediately. No. All these people that are like, I just want my son to have a better life than me. That's all over. You're just lucky they don't kill you. The expectation should be that your child not in a fentanyl haze kill you and decapitate you and your wife. That should be the only expectation. We're going to have to find out what to do with these kids. This is not the old school where everybody lived their dream now. This is like, how do we put them in a prison that is nice? Can we put them in a nice prison where everyone feels good about it? That's what we did to my mother. She was a nut. We love my mother, but it's like, some people are going to have to go in our society. Some people are going to have to go in. And I don't think age matters in this case. I don't think age matters anymore. By the way, my grandfather told me this story. He worked on this place, Ward Island. It was an island in the middle of the East River where they had this big mental institution. And he was like working on it. He was like whatever he was doing, like, hammer and nail, laying brick. I don't know what he was doing. And he would just hear the wailing of the infirmed, the crazy, while he would work. He'd just hear, and he would just eat his sandwich, his liverwurst, mustard and onion, or the old sandwiches they used to eat, like bologna, and they would just eat the sandwiches, and they would hear, That's my point. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying, Sometimes it's good to put people in a place where their day is planned for them and they can't get out.
No, let's leave them on the sidewalks of California, because that's what we've done. We shut down the institutions that used to try and help these people, and we just kicked them out onto the street. Now they're on our sidewalks, and we wonder why the homeless population is so crazy. Well, the homeless population also contains all the people that used to be in these facilities that were trying to care for people that couldn't care for themselves. Now they've just been abandoned under the bridge by the fire barrel. Genius, really. Our politicians just know exactly what they're doing, and the consequences of their actions are always good and progressive. And progressive means your life is going to get better. And you should see that clearly, that your life is better, especially if you live in the city and you have to step over human shit on your way to work every day. That's better. It is. It is just better to have them on your sidewalk, because it was expensive and a pain to have them in these places that had to have government funding and People had to work there. It's just easier to abandon them on the sidewalk in front of your house. It is. You can't argue with logic.
But I'm saying, and I don't think it matters how old they are. I'm sick of hearing that age is a factor here. There are kids murdering other kids. There are problems in our society. They have to be dealt with. They have to be dealt with. I don't care. I don't care. We have enough kids. Adults are becoming kids. They're the new kids. Adults are the new kids. We don't need kids. Kids are becoming more like adults. They're becoming like violent psychopaths. Adults are so traumatized. They're all MK Ultra victims. They just sit in their room and play with figurines. Well, we got kids. We got them. I got to go to Salt Lake City. I've had enough. I've had enough with everybody. I don't know what to do anymore. Go see me in West Hampton Performing Arts Center in Des Plaines, Illinois, Rivers Casino. We added 2 shows on Sunday in Salt Lake City. I'll be there all weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I love Salt Lake. I stay in Deer Valley, of course. And I'm in Salt Lake for an hour at night or 2 hours. But I love it. I love Salt Lake. I love Park City more, but I love Salt Lake. It's fun. It's just the right amount of methy. I like it. And we've sold out all the shows. We've added 2 more. It's great to see everybody, and we'll see you soon. Good night.
So that's been the prophet, Tim Dillon. And it's just a fun little place to go to get some information, to discuss, to think about things without it getting too serious. I highly recommend it. You know, this has been the latest episode that he put out 9 hours ago of the Tim Dillon Show. Secret Service Sloped Roof Party, number 401. Show your friends, show your enemies, show everyone. Because at least it starts the discussion. Even if you don't want to take it too serious, you just want to dip your toe into the water, you still don't want to care, let's laugh about it, you know, who cares? But it's better to be aware that these things are going on, even if you don't want to do anything about it just yet, you know, or ever, or you just don't care, you know. That's fine too. But I think it's just a fun little place to go and hear this guy rant on and on about the things that he's seeing. All right, can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. I'll see you in the next one.